Hey guys, it's Anthony here from AC Property Group. So in this week's video we're going to be talking about how you find your area when you're looking to do HMOs as a strategy. So if you want to find out more, make sure you stay tuned. So if you're looking to do HMO as your strategy and you're trying to find out where your area is, the first thing you need to decide on is what type of tenants you'd like to have as a HMO landlord. Now, is this going to be students, professionals, workers, or local housing authority tenants? If it is that you're choosing to have students as your tenants in your HMO, then my recommendation would be to approach the local universities, and you need to speak to the accommodations officer at the university, because these are the people that are going to tell you whether there is demand in the area to put a HMO there. And believe me, they do want to work with landlords, so they're a great person to get to know because they're going to help you fill your HMO. If it is that you decide professionals, workers, or local housing authority tenants is the type of tenants you want to have in your HMO, then where do you find out the demand for these in your area? Now, I use a website called Spare Room because this helps me gain a great surface level idea of the areas I'm looking at, so I can do some more detailed research to find out if this is an area that's going to work for me. So let's take a look at Spare Room. Okay, so now we've moved over to Spare Room, what we want to do is have a look at areas that we think are going to work well for us and our HMO strategy. So we're looking for rooms to rent currently, and we want to put in the area we're looking at. So I'm going to put in Derby as my area, and if we hit search, what it shows us is there's 495 rooms currently available in the Derby area for rent. Then what we want to have a look at is compare this against the rooms that are wanted in the area. So this is people that are looking for rooms in the Derby area. So if I hit rooms wanted and then hit search again, so it actually shows there's 259 rooms wanted in the Derby area versus the 495 currently available. Now, this is as much detail as most investors will do on Spare Room, because they'll look at this area and go, there's too many rooms available versus the amount of people that are looking, Derby's no good as an area. But what I think Spare Room can actually do is give you more detail about the area than just this. So if we have a look at this column on the right hand side here, what this is showing us is areas that Spare Room has deemed close to the Derby area that might be useful for HMOs. So places where people have ticked that they are looking for rooms. So what you want to do is repeat the same process you've just done, but compare it against all these particular areas in and around the Derby area. So if we click Alfreton, for example, it shows that there's 53 rooms wanted in the area. And then if we have a look at rooms to rent, and there's actually 18 rooms available in the area. So this suggests that Alfreton might actually be a good area to put HMOs. What I would suggest is to do this exact same strategy with all the nearby areas in Derby, and then create a spreadsheet to give you an idea of areas that you think might work. So once you've had a look at all the nearby areas, you'll have created a spreadsheet that looks something like this, and it shows you the demand in the areas around the Derby area that you're looking at. So if you have a look, you can see the examples that we gave. So Derby, 495 rooms available versus the 259 currently wanted. So it means that there's a lot more rooms available and the demand for rooms isn't quite as high. And then, as we said, Alfreton, so there's 18 rooms available versus the 53 that are currently wanted. So these are people that have specifically ticked Alfreton as a place that they would like to live when looking for a room. And just to give an example, one that really stands out to me is Burton-on-Trent. There's 76 rooms available versus the 77 wanted. So this says to me that there's a relatively decent demand ratio in the area. There's a fair amount of rooms compared to the amount of people looking for them, and this might be a good place to put a HMO. But we're obviously going to want to do a little bit more detailed research to make sure that this area is going to work for us before we start buying houses there. Okay, so after we've used our spreadsheet to pick an area that we think is going to work well for us in our HMO strategy, we want to move back on over to spare room. And what we want to do is we want to find an expert now in the area to see whether our research is correct and see whether if we do actually buy a house in this area to do as a HMO, it's going to work. So we want to go back to search and we want to put in for rooms for rent and we want to put the area that we've decided to pick. So in this example, we've picked Burton-on-Trent. And if we hit search, and again it comes back up with the amount of rooms that are available to rent in the Burton-on-Trent area. Now what we want to look at is we want to try and find the experts in the area. So we want to refine our search and scroll to the bottom. And what we want to find is just ads posted by agents, because we want to contact them and find out whether HMOs are going to work specifically in the area we're looking at. So if we hit search, so now what it's showing us is just the ads that have been posted by agents in the Burton-on-Trent area. And if we click more information on these, what this will give us is the full detailed information of the agent so we can contact them. And then what we want to do is contact these agents, potentially look to arrange a coffee meeting with them, but we want to be asking them key questions about whether if we were to put a HMO in that area, how much we'd be looking to get for rent, whether they would be happy to take it on and market it, and how quickly they think they would fill the rooms. There obviously are some additional information that I would probably ask the agents at this point. So for example, whether ensuite rooms work better in this area, is there specific areas within Burton-on-Trent that are going to work really well for HMOs? Because don't forget, these people are the experts and they're going to be the ones that are going to tell you ultimately whether this HMO is going to work, and ultimately the people that are going to manage it for you. So it's a hands-off, systemized process. So I would repeat the same process by going back to the search results and then having a look for a different agent and probably asking the question of maybe 2 or 3 to gain a good idea of whether this area is going to work. So we can see we've got another agent here, and most of the rooms are actually rented in this person's HMO. So again, I'd be asking questions of how come the other rooms aren't rented? Is this area going to work really well for me? And just gaining a great idea of whether this area is going to work well for me and my HMO strategy. Okay, so now you've found a great area that looks like it's going to work for you and your HMO strategy. The next thing you need to look at is where you're going to be buying houses in that particular area. So when choosing this location, you need to be looking for somewhere that's close to the city centre, so tenants have got easy access to the local amenities in the area. Which brings me on to my next point. You need to make sure there is, in fact, enough local amenities in the area for tenants to access. Along with that as well, there needs to be great transport links, whether this is to the city centre or exiting the town or city that you've chosen. And finally, you need to see if there's big employers in the area. So your HMO needs to be close to these facilities, whether it's hospitals, factories. They need to meet the demand of the tenants that you put in your HMO. And in closing, my final points, please, when trying to pick your area, do not put dummy ads out on Spare Room to try and see if your area is going to work for HMOs. It's my opinion that this is quite lazy and it creates a false economy which drives the overpopulation of HMOs in the area, and it's just going to make your HMO empty. And finally, don't forget to check the area to see if it's got Article 4 direction, because this might affect your HMO if you're trying to employ it in this area. Guys, really hope you found that video useful. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and drop me any comments below if there's anything you want to see in our next video. See you next time.